In this short video, we'll talk about endoscopic ultrasound guided cystogastrostomy with double pigtail plastic stent. First, we will talk about the used accessories. The first accessory is the EUS needle. It should be 19G needle because it can accommodate the 0.035 guide wire. We can't use 22 or 25 needles because these needles are too small to accommodate the guide wire. Also, it should be a fine needle aspiration needle and not a fine needle biopsy, because fine needle biopsy, the needle has a side opening with a sharp edge, so the guide wire can go to the side opening and it can be sheared against the sharp edge. So it should be fine needle aspiration and not fine needle biopsy needle. After that, we should widen the puncture side by 6 French cystostome. The 6 French cystostome has a ringed knife at its tip, not needle knife, but ringed knife with electrocautery. So we can introduce it over the guide wire to widen the puncture produced by the FNA needle. Instead of doing the puncture by a needle and widening by 6 French cystostome, instead we can use the 10 French cystostome, which is formed of an inner part with the needle knife with electrocautery by which you can puncture the cyst. Yes, and then widen this puncture by the outer part, which has a ringed knife with electrocautery. So we puncture with the inner part with the needle knife and then widen by the ringed knife with electrocautery. After that, we withdraw the inner part and introduce the guide wire and produce more widening of the puncture side by CRE balloon, the usual CRE balloon catheter. If we are intending to put one stent, double pigtail stent, we should widen to a larger degree. We should widen to at least 12 to 15 millimeter. If we will introduce 2 double pigtail stents, then we can produce dilatation up to 8 to 10 millimeter by the CRE balloon. And finally, we can introduce the double pigtail plastic stent. It should be double pigtail to prevent migration of the stent, either inward migration inside the cyst or outward migration in the stomach. Then let us see this short video about the maneuver itself. And I'd like to thank my dear colleague, Dr. Ahmed Al-Zamzami, who helped me in preparing this video. Our patient is a 45 years old male with acute pancreatitis and cyst present for 6 weeks. So there will be a well-formed wall. This will minimize leakage as much as we can. This is the bulge seen by the endoscopic view of the echo endoscope. And then this is the cyst. We can do characterization of the cyst. And then we should apply Doppler to avoid any intervening vessel in the needle pass. This is the 19G needle. It should be 19G. We puncture the cyst by the 19G and withdraw the stylet and then introduce the wire 0.035 wire, and by the screen we can ensure that the wire is inside the cyst with at least 1.5 or 2 coils, and the wire should be straight. And then we introduce the 6 French cystostome. Here is the tip of the 6 French cystostome. Then we should apply electrocautery. This haziness of the screen means the electrocautery, and then the 6 French cystostome with ringed tip, ringed knife, pierced and widened the puncture produced by the needle. And here this is introduced the CRE balloon to produce more dilatation. And then we can shift to the endoscopic view. This is the 2 markers of the CRE balloon. Okay. And we then can shift to the endoscopic view and then start to inflate the balloon. This is 12 to 15 millimeter CER balloon. And then we will inflate it gradually. And by the radiological screen, fluoroscopic screen, we can see obliteration of the waist. Here, there is some indentation here of the balloon, so the waist uh, is there, and then we are keep inflating till the waist disappears. Then we then ensure complete inflation, and then we deflate the balloon. And at that time, we see that there is market push, or there is a gush of fluid from the high pressure cyst to the stomach, and then we can introduce the double pigtail stent. And this is the marker of the stent. This is the distal marker of the stent. And then we should release the distal tip of the plastic stent. And here, this is the fluoroscopic view. This very nice. This is the cyst, and here this is the inside the stomach, and this is inside the cyst. And this is the cyst decreasing in size, and the amount of fluid shifted from the cyst to the stomach. Yes, so there is gradual drainage of the cyst inside the gastric cavity. And thanks for your attention.